You're listening to the Abolitionist Roundtable, patriotic Black American conservative all-access radio, with your hosts, Del, Phil, and Janice. They're leading the charge in advancing the conservative revolution. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Good morning, and thank you for staying with us, or thank you for joining us if you're just getting up. Sleepyheads, we're glad to have you in the audience. This is Janice Daniels. I'm here with Del Marsh, Phil Stargell, and we represent the Abolitionist Roundtable of Michigan, otherwise known as Art of Michigan, heard every Saturday morning from 7 till 8 a.m. on Wham Talk 1600. We are very pleased in this half hour to be joined by Republican Party National Committeeman Dave Agema. I'm going to bring him right in. Good morning, Dave, or good morning, Committeeman Agema. May I call you Dave?
Dave is fine, and yes, I'm just getting up myself. I'm sleepy, but I'm with you.
Yeah, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. It is early in the morning, but you know what? What is that? The early bird gets the worms, so that's what we're here to do, is get worms. Yeah. Dave, if I may, I like the way you consistently share your opinions and your theories and articles that really cause grief among far lesser men who would rather kneel to the gods of political correctness or even lick the boots of the power brokers rather than to acknowledge the fact that God has created all of us as unique, sovereign individuals who have every right to disagree with the beliefs of the intolerance minions of the tolerance crowd. I again salute you, Dave.
Thank you much. I appreciate that.
Now, the reason why I asked to have you on the show this morning, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I have been very concerned about the fact that our constitutional rule of law is being infiltrated by Sharia law.
Yes.
And in fact, I believe that to be one of the defining issues of our time, quite frankly. So I have been working on the issue, looking at different aspects of the issue, and I know that a number of states have enacted laws that prevent foreign laws from being used in our court system. And as I was doing my research, Dave, I found that you sponsored House Bill 4769 in June of 2011 to do just that. And it was referred to the Committee on the Judiciary, and it seems to have dropped off the face of the earth. Can you give us a little background on that bill and where it went and what happened and what we might do to reenact it?
Well, let's back up a little bit. Basically, I was invited to go to Turkey by the Turkish Federation, and just prior to that, I invited Kamal Salim and Three-Star General Boykin to come to the Capitol to speak on radical Islam. And out of 148 senators and representatives, only 10 of them showed up, and I had advertised this weeks in advance on the day up. So they basically told me, when you go there, they're going to tell you that they just want more green cards, they just want to be friendly with the U.S. He says the real goal is to take over America from within, and they're going to be the catalyst to start this. So what they do is they take senators and representatives and congressmen from all over the United States, treat them very nice, and bring them over there, and kind of feed them, if you will, a little bit of garbage to make them believe that that's all they want. When I came back from that event, I immediately put in the American Law for American Courts bill. What that bill basically says is, if you're a judge, we do not want you to use foreign law in a court of law if it causes anyone to lose their constitutional rights. That's all it does.
Right.
So that would be any foreign law, including the Muslim laws of Sharia. Sharia term actually means law. So when you say Sharia law, you're actually saying law.
I see.
So I put that bill in, and it basically went nowhere. And it went nowhere primarily, I think, because of the Speaker of the House and the governor did not want it passed. Who knows why the governor did not want it passed? Could have been because of votes. Could have been because he wanted money from Dearborn, Detroit area.
Right.
I think that's probably a reasonable assumption. And Bolger basically didn't want it passed because he's a Catholic, and believe it or not, the Catholic Church did not want this bill passed. They wanted to be friends with Muslims and Islam, to which I told those people, I says, you're actually being friends with somebody that is anathema to your religion and wants to destroy you and your religion.
And they don't understand that, yeah.
They don't understand it at all.
Well,
so
in fact,
I tried to basically let people know what Islam was, and I've written a lot of articles, posted a lot of articles what Islam is, and I can go into a little bit of the history if you like, but I'll let you kind of guide the direction of this discussion.
Well, that's interesting that you talk about the fact that the legislators didn't even show up. I really feel as though a lot of good men and good women don't look at what this issue of Islam and Sharia really is. Brigitte Gabriel said that we look at things through the lens of our own belief system, and we can't do that because they have a totally different belief system.
That's right.
Take the floor, Dave. We've invited you in to talk,
Yes,
so
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I think, I've written a lot of stuff about this and posted articles that other people have written about Islam and Sharia law. It started in 1776, actually, when we became an independent country. Immediately our ships were being taken, our captains and our people were being either killed or put into slavery by the Muslims in Tripoli. And we were paying approximately 20% of our GDP for ransom for these boats and people. So it was Jefferson and Adams that met an imam in England, and they asked, "Why are you doing this?" To which he replied, "According to the Quran and the Sunnah, we have the right to do whatever we desire with an infidel and their goods and so forth." So Jefferson came back to the United States and said, "We need a Navy, we need a Marine Corps." Well, they didn't have much money, so he had to convince everybody that we needed that. So what he did is printed 200 copies of the Quran, handed them out, and said, "This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a 6th, 7th century religion that is barbaric." So we actually had one of our congressmen that swore in with his hand on the Quran, and he said, "Well, this was Jefferson's Bible Bible of the Quran." And he basically said, "See, even he believed this." That's absolutely false.
That is.
He was actually putting his hand on the Quran, saying he was making an oath to our Constitution, defend our Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And the Quran is anathema to our Constitution.
Why do we allow these kinds of things to happen, Dave? I just don't understand it.
Well, it's, again, ignorance of the people. So what does the Quran actually say? The Quran and the Sunnah, which is opposed to the Hadith and the Sirah, one is the way he lived, and one is his biography. And by the way, Muhammad could not read or write, so this was all passed down either through the generations, what people said he said, and written down by other people. But the Quran actually says what they're trying to do is take the world for Islam. And the Sharia law is superior to all of man's laws. So it's superior to our Constitution or any other country's Constitution. So when you see all these ISIS fighters and these Muslim people coming into Germany and France, the things that you've seen happen there, and now coming into the United States to the refugee program, their goal is to take over this country from within. They do not believe they have to abide by our laws. They did not come into our country to assimilate, but rather to take this country from within. And it bothers me that we have a president and commander-in-chief who I believe knows this very well because his father was a communist Muslim African, and so was his grandfather, and they were slave owners, that he basically says that Islam is a religion of peace. Well, there's two parts of the Quran, if you will. The first part was written in Mecca when he was rather peaceful, and he tried to kind of copy what the prophets of the Jewish religion and the Christian religions were, but over, 13 or 15 years, he only had like 130 converts. So he's basically driven out of Mecca. He went to Medina. When he got to Medina, he became a politician and a warlord, and he surrounded himself with thugs, if you will. And his goal was, he basically said, you can take whatever an infidel has, you can kill their men, you can use their women and the children as sex slaves or whatever you wish. So he just gathered huge sums of people that would do those things, and it was a good deal for them because they could just take what they wanted. He married a girl at the young age of 6. He consummated the marriage at 9. When she was 12, he went back to Mecca, found all the Jews that would not convert, and for an afternoon they sat and watched several hundred Jews beheaded because they would not convert back to his religion of Islam. So a Muslim, a true Muslim, now there are some Muslims that are moderate, that don't believe everything Muhammad said, obviously.
Well, that's not what Louis Farrakhan said. Excuse me for interrupting, but that's not what Louis Farrakhan said just in September of 2015. He said there is no such thing as a moderate Muslim.
Well, he's probably correct, because if you're going to call yourself a Muslim, then you have to do and say what Muhammad did.
That's right.
And you believe in the Quran, And by the way, the second half of the Quran that was written for him in Medina takes precedence over the first half. That's called subjugation. And there's no other religion that I know of anywhere that purports to tell the people, you please lie for the sake of Islam.
Oh, that's
called
right.
Taqiyya.
Right.
Taqiyya.
They may lie
Yes.
to further the cause of Islam. And I don't know of any other religion that does that. So when a Muslim says, no, I'm here just to be peaceful, you don't know if that's true or not.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask them the question, do you want Sharia law in the United States? Some will say yes.
Right.
Many will say yes. But some will say no, but we don't know if they're using Taqiyya, lying just to cover up what they really believe.
Well, that's true. In fact, what I understand about Taqiyya is it's not only that they are obliged to lie, they are obligated to lie to advance the cause of Islam. So
Exactly.
they must lie to who they call the infidel. And this is just shocking that people don't understand this. And I'm very happy to have men like you that are brave enough to stand up and tell the truth about what's going on. In fact, I am especially impressed with your articles of impeachment that the document that you're bringing forth to the Republican Party National Committee. I guess this month, next month. Talk a little bit about that.
Actually, just in a few days. Basically, it was written up by the North American Law Center. It's got 48 articles of impeachment. Now, here's the issue for me. We've had the majority as Republicans in the House and the Senate now, and they said they were going to do all these great things, but they've done nothing.
That's right.
So, to me, the real issue is, will the RNC stand up and say, we do not believe it, we believe that treason and tyranny is an impeachable offense, which obviously it is. And there are plenty of reasons to impeach Obama. But the RNC has a choice to make. If they're going to go along with their political correctness and say it's going to cost too much, that's bogus. Obama's already cost this country too much.
Right.
If they're going to say that this is going to just bring all the people to vote for Hillary Clinton, that's bogus. Because in the trial of impeachment, by the way, let me explain this, all it takes is one representative to put this in. Then it goes to the judiciary. In the judiciary, we have 23 members, Republicans. It only takes 20 people to get it out of the judiciary. When it comes to the House floor,